Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to Fantasy Football Futures. This is part 2 matchup preview. I'm Tyler. This is Tim.
What's up?
And today we're just going to go ahead and go over the second set of matchups on Sunday and then give you our must starts at the end of the show at each position, just one for each. So we ended last episode talking about the Rams, Vikings. We did just get an update here. Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian on COVID protocol, which seems about what everybody's happening right now. So they're out. Ian Book is now becoming the starter for this week. So that'll be, I think that changes a lot as far as bets and everything.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite. So
that was your favorite.
Super cool.
Yeah, on last episode, we also gave our locks, our favorites, and our underdog picks for the week. So go ahead and check that out at the end of the episode. But let's go ahead and dive right in here to the best game of the week, probably. Jaguars at Jets. Exciting. You got the Jets who have a bunch of people out with COVID, I'm pretty sure. So Robert Saleh and a bunch of players have gone out with COVID. But this game, it's James Robinson. That's it. And then Michael Carter, I think I would play as well.
Yep, I agree. Elijah Moore was placed on the COVID list.
Yep.
James Robinson, not much really added this game. I'm fine. We'll just kind of
moving on. James Robinson, Michael Carter, moving on. Yep. Zach Wilson's played good of late, but we'll see how that continues. So, what a game! First matchup there. Second matchup now we have is Giants at the Eagles. Not sure. I know they're still unsure of who is going to be starters for the Giants. You're looking at Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm made his first appearance in the game last week, but I don't know. I think if you're the Giants, I think you start Jake Fromm, just see kind of what you got in a guy like him. He played at Georgia. He's not shy from the big moments, so I would take him, but I'm not starting either in fantasy. Wide receiver wise for the Giants, not playing anybody either. You could look at Evan Ingram, but to me, Evan Ingram still is the most unreliable human being ever. So really, you're Saquon, and you're just hoping for another solid performance out of Saquon. He's getting the carries, he's getting the touches. It's just not amounting to much. When you have Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm, you're going to sell for the run, and it is what it is. So
it kind of sucked last week. Barkley had all those
points.
touches, 15 for 50, and then Booker came in, only had 8 carries. He had 74 yards. So I don't know what's going on with Barkley, if he's 100% or not. I think you still got to play him just because of what he can do. But there might be – I think there's a wide running back who I've been talking a lot of crap on for a lot of weeks on the other side that I would think start over Saquon Barkley, and that's Miles Sanders.
That is weird. It's a weird thing you've been doing lately. Yeah. I think Miles Sanders is probably one of the more slept on players. I know injuries have been big, but he's only second year guy and he's fully capable of doing stuff like this. He had 250 yards rushing the last 2 weeks, which is huge. Did against Washington. I could see it happening again this week against the Giants. I know Giants defense rushing wise is a little bit better than most, but I would still trust they're going to run the ball. And I like Miles Sanders this week. I like Jalen Hurts this week as well. He's kind of developed himself as a thrower a little bit, so a passer, a little bit more accurate.
He almost threw for 300 yards last week.
I know. So to me, I like Jalen Hurts this week. He's okay, very average quarterback in real life. One of the best fantasy quarterbacks out there. And then outside of that, I love Dallas Goedert this week. Giants who struggle against guarding tight ends. Goddard has kind of moved as like the best option for the Eagles, I think, and the easiest option to get involved with. He's had 240 yards receiving yards the last 2 weeks. He just didn't find the end zone this week, but I like Dallas Goedert a lot. I think he's kind of the focal point of their passing game right now, especially with some of these players being out. So I like Hurts, Sanders, Goddard. Then you look at Devontae Smith. To me, it's so hard to play him each week. I don't know. He's on the field a lot, but he doesn't get a lot of looks.
Yeah, I really like Goddard. I think you still got to go with Smith. I know he kind of had a disappointing week last week. Still in the field a lot, almost 90% of the time. I think how good of a game Goddard had, I think that kind of took away from Smith. So I think between that and Jalen Hurts and Sanders really run the ball, I think it kind of hurts him. But I think you've seen flashes of Smith, and I think you still got to play him just because this Giants team isn't that good. They're not. I don't think they're that good against the pass. So I think that's where Smith and Goddard come in, and they're going to have themselves a good game.
They're about 23rd against the pass, and 19th against tight end. So I like Goddard. I mean, Smith, you could play just because of his potential, but for me personally, I would stay away just because you never know what kind of game he's going to have. But yeah, it's Barkley on that side of the ball. Goddard, Hurts. I like Sanders and then Smith here as well. Then we move to the next. These are starting to get into the 3:00 games. We got the Bears at the Seahawks. Personally, I think Justin Fields is kind of working himself into a solid QB play. He runs the ball well. He's starting to read the field a little better. He's not forcing the ball into a lot. But then again, it comes down to who's he play for. Plays for Matt Nagy and the Bears, so it's always a tough decision. But I like Justin Fields. I like David Montgomery here as well to kind of bounce back. He had a slow week last week, but I feel like in order for them to win games, he's got to be involved a lot more, and I think you're going to see that. And then as well as Darnell Mooney to kind of be involved a lot more than what he was. But really, I'm not really touching tight ends. You don't really know who's who, but I like Justin Fields, Montgomery, Mooney to take over that role this week for the Bears.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is going to can be a good play. Part of me almost would want to start him over Russell Wilson just because of how much Justin Fields can run the ball. He's been throwing the ball a lot better. Threw 39 attempts last week, the most he's ever thrown. 26 of the 39, 285 yards, had 7 attempts of rushing. I think he only had 35 yards off that. I think it's a Seattle defense that's not that good. He's going to have even a better game than that. So I like him. I do like Mooney. Mooney's was a couple inches away of having a touchdown.
Yeah,
he was targeted a couple times in the red zone in the end zone as well. So I love Mooney as a star with Allen Robinson out. And then so you have to go Montgomery. I think he did have not a very good week last week. He did run the ball 18 times and did have 6 targets out of the backfield. So I think he's a must start of running the ball.
Seattle's not a great run defense, so I expect him to kind of come in and run a lot. Then the other side of the ball, like Russell Wilson is to me he's very average. He's an above edge quarterback. I think fantasy wise, he doesn't do a whole lot for you. He's not anybody like I would take Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts over Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah,
just because they're so dynamic running the football and passing the football. They're pretty much doing the same thing that Wilson is. So I give them the edge with the rushing ability. But you're looking at Rashad Penny. I wouldn't play him. This Bears run defense is pretty solid. We saw they kind of shut down Dalvin Cook last week. It took him 28 carries to get 90-something yards. So I just don't think the Seahawks are going to commit to the run that much. So I don't like Rashad Penny. And then receiving-wise, Tyler Lockett is nearing a comeback. They're expecting him to be activated for this week. So I like him. DK, what are we thinking with DK right now? Last 3 weeks, he didn't have Lockett last week. I know Jalen Ramsey was on him, so he saw a lot more target share because Lockett was out, but he only had 6 catches, 52 yards. The week before that, 4 catches, 43. And then the week before that, 5 catches for 60. And he just hasn't had any type of production that we're expecting him. Before their bye week, he had touchdowns in almost every game, so that helped, but he hasn't seen a touchdown since their bye.
Yeah, it's been pretty weird, especially with Russell back in. It almost seems like he had 12 targets last game, but it almost seems like Russell's really forcing the ball because Metcalf really opens up when he's open. He shows emotion about it. So I think sometimes Russell might be trying to force him the ball. I say you have to start him. How much he's on the field, how many targets he's
Oh
getting.
yeah.
This touchdown streak has to end soon. The Bears defense is still pretty good. I think the Bears defense kept them in that game last week. It was the offense, the coaching decisions that really hurt the Bears, penalties and everything like that. But that defense really helped them and really shut down the Vikings. They just had that one touchdown to Jefferson. They had a second touchdown, didn't they? I forgot who was two. It was like one of the rookie wide receivers that barely plays that slipped in because both of them went to Jefferson. I remember that.
Yep.
But I think that had a lot to do with the offense of having bad field position. So I think this Bears defense is good. I think you have to play Metcalf and Lockett just because of what's going to happen. But I think one of them is not going to have a good game. The Seahawks are not going to go off against the Bears.
No, I feel like it's kind of Lockett's show as of late. Since Russ has gotten back, it's been more Lockett than Metcalf. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I know you're going to play Metcalf. It is like his ceiling's too high to not play him, but you got to worry with Lockett coming back because that's going to take away a lot of targets from him. Yeah, it's a question mark. But like we said, to me it's Fields over Wilson this week, and maybe moving forward. Russell Wilson does not look good. I don't really trust him. So. That was Bears Seahawks. Now let's dive into Pittsburgh and Kansas City. I think this game is going to be high scoring. I think we're going to see Chiefs kind of go up, and then Pittsburgh do whatever they normally do, come back late, score a couple points. But I'm looking at this week for the Steelers. Najee, Deontay. I know Freiermuth. He's a question mark because of his concussion. I feel like he's not going to play because he was out.
He got hit very hard. I think he's going to be out as well.
So then looking at that, I mean, you got Eric Ebron, but I don't really know. I don't like Chase Claypool against this Chiefs defense. Claypool, a lot of drama going on around him and everything. So I think the only people you can trust really are Harris and Deontay. I know Harris had a huge stud of a week. 18 rushing yards, 2 catches, 8 yards. He only put 4 points, but I expect him to kind of have a bounce back week.
Yeah, that Steelers-Titan game was not a very good offensive game for either team. Very disappointing, but yeah, I think you got to go Harris. You have to go Johnson. Not touching Claypool. He only had 2 targets, 0 catches. I think he had 1 rush, and that was about it. So they're really not really going to him. He's made that organization pretty mad. So I think it's a lot of Harris, a lot of Deontay Johnson. And with Freiermuth out, maybe that's when they go to Claypool, but I'm still not touching him. You just got to go with those 2, and that's about it on that side of the ball.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. Claypool, I just don't really, I don't know. It's tough. I say it's just those 2. Johnson, I feel like will come back and have a solid week. The Steelers in general just had a dud week. To me, I think what they need to get back to and what has made them successful is when you see Najee getting a lot of targets out of the backfield, it takes some of that pressure off Big Ben in the pocket. That's when they were most successful, getting the ball out quick to Najee. I think that's something they got to work. And then you look at the Chiefs, Mahomes, healthy, Edwards-Helaire, healthy. But then you go to the wide receiver core, you got Tyreek Hill, who is COVID list. Travis Kelce, also on the COVID list. So I would expect them not to play this week. I know they can test out of it, but it's tough. I don't know. Without Hill, I think who would become the next up tight end for you, or not tight end? The next play at wide receiver. I know it's looking like Mecole Hardman, but who do you think would be the next guy to step up with Hill out?
To be honest with you, Pringle's been on the field more than Hardman is.
That's what I was thinking.
They've been having about the same amount of targets and everything, but Pringle is on the field even with Kelce and Hill in the game, over 60% of the time. So Pringle might be that guy that steps up. Demarcus Robinson was on the field about 70%, had 3 targets with 0 catches. But be honest with you, I think it might be Pringle, but I'm not
playing. I don't think I play either of them.
I don't think I'm playing, but
yeah, I think Pringle's the one who steps up. I think this is a big week for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I think he would be involved a lot in the pass game. I'll be interested to see what happens if Kelce and Hill don't play. That's the offense just gone right there. 90% of it at least just out of there. The backup tight end's Noah Gray. He hasn't done anything all year, so I'll be interested to see who plays and what it looks like for the Chiefs. But to me, it's just Mahomes and Edwards-Helaire. Maybe you could start Darrell Williams because expected in the past game to kind of get more involved in the backfield.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a tough matchup here.
Yeah, Clyde was on the field a little bit more last week. He was over 70%. And so it looks like it's going in that direction where Clyde's going to be playing a lot. But at the same time, with all those out, you might see Clyde and Williams get a lot of playing time. It's going to be interesting to see what the Chiefs do and how their offense will be structured without if those two don't play.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I don't think Kelsey. He is asymptomatic, I believe. So if he tests out of it, he can. He's vaccinated, so that's something just to keep an eye out for. I think Hill though is out. He did test positive for it, so I feel like they're going to be. He's done for this week, no matter what. Just depending on how he tests, if he can test out of it. So that's Steelers Chiefs. Then we have Denver at the Raiders. Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. I'm starting both of them because Drew Lock's playing, and if the Broncos want to be successful, I think it's through the ground.
Yep.
Are you going to play Jerry Jeudy this week?
Honestly, no.
He had 0 points last week.
Yep. I played him at 0 points.
Yeah, 4 targets, no catches.
I think Jerry Jeudy's going to have himself a good career, and I think he's going to be fine next season. Mm-hmm. But I think this season is done for him. I think the whole passing game for them with Bridgewater or with Locke in there is just non-existent. Maybe throw Noah Fant. That's one of the few things they do, but it's all running the ball with Williams and Gordon. I think that's all you have for the Broncos.
What I think so, dude. Noah Fant might be a play. He's had success with Drew Lock, and I think they're going to try to get quick dump offs to him. So I keep an eye out for pretty much the 2 running backs and then Noah Fant, and that's pretty much it. Like the wide receiver core, it's always tough to play. I'm not really relying too much on them. And then you look at the other side of the ball here, you got the Raiders. Really my only play that I like a lot is Hunter Renfrow, and that's pretty much it. I don't really I don't trust Derek Carr. Josh Jacobs is up and down kind of back. They don't give him the workload I think he needs. I think if Josh Jacobs on any other team, I think he's probably a number 1 running back in top 10. But just with the Raiders, I don't like it at all.
The Raiders been like, they went and got Kenyon Drake. He's not even playing, but they're just not using Jacobs a whole lot. I guess they're trying to keep him healthy or whatever it is, but
I don't know.
He's getting the targets out of the backfield too, but just not doing anything with them with the runs or anything like that. He almost has to get into the goal line, be able to score touchdowns. He's not breaking away or anything like that. Not what we saw last year, because he had himself a pretty good season, especially at the beginning of the year last year. I think he ended not
he
very
wasn't
hot,
terrible,
but at the beginning he was looking pretty good until the end.
And he finished 8th last year in standard and PPR.
Yeah, it was, and I think he was top 5 until the end of the season when he kind of had disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointing. But anyway, I go Renfrow. Edwards got himself a touchdown. He only had 4 targets for 8 yards, so he's not getting those big time plays like probably what they brought him in for. So you just have to go Renfrow, and I think you go back to Waller if he's playing this week.
That's what I agree.
He's still out of practice, so he might not be playing again. And
that's what, if he's not, the only person I'm playing is Renfrow.
The only thing with Foster, when he's like last week, played 100% of the snaps, had 9 targets. If you're looking for a late tight end, I think there's better tight ends out there. Like I'm playing with Fant over Foster, but I think Foster might be a good, that ability that he might get into the end zone if Waller's not playing.
He's on the field a lot. He gets everything, so I agree. If there's a play, it's Foster at tight end. But I think if Waller's back, it's Waller and then Renfrow, and that's pretty much it. I don't like Jacobs. You can play a flex, hoping he gets a touchdown or something, which is perfectly capable. But it's how much I don't know. I think there's better running. Like 2 on the Broncos, I would take over Jacobs right now. So a lot of options there. And then let's go to our Sunday night game here. We got the football team at Dallas. Heineke, returns from COVID list, so he's playing. You got, I'm pretty sure all the Cowboys players are good to go as well. Big game we saw last week. They brought it back and lost by 7. Cowboys offense has looked like doo-doo, but their defense has stepped up in a big way. So if you're looking at this football team, who are some must starts for you, no matter what the matchup this week?
One has to be CD Lamb. Has had kind of down weeks, but the production's there. He has week 13 targets, week 14 against Washington at 10 targets, last week 9 targets. It's all there. He's going to put it together. It's just right now the offense is kind of just not looking great. Dak's not looking good. I don't know if I'm starting Dak this week. He's had 3 bad weeks. You're maybe thinking this is the time where he's going to finally have that week, but I thought it was going to be last week. I thought it was going to be against Washington the week before that, and it was just nothing.
Well, so it's going to be. They're not throwing the ball. It's not because they're throwing the ball, like a lack of throwing the ball. He threw the ball 37 times last week, 28 completions, 217 yards. Like, they're throwing it. They're throwing the ball. The last, he's gone 37 attempts, 39 attempts, 40 attempts, 47 attempts. Mm-hmm. It's not that they're not throwing the football. He has just looked terrible. This offense, like you said, has been out of sync. I don't really know what it is, but I don't know. It's tough matchup here.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I'm playing Zeke. He's getting the ball a lot, getting to the end zone. He got in the end zone last week. The yards per carry are really worrisome, like 16 attempts for 52. Before that, 12 for 45. So they're, like you said, they're not really running the ball like a lot to where they're passing it a lot. Just the offense just doesn't look good right now. So I think you got to go Zeke. I think you still play Dak just because of what he can bring. You go CD, you go Cooper. What about Schultz? You've been kind of off on Schultz, and then he showed up last week and had himself a game.
To me, this is such a tough. There's so many weapons on the field. I don't think you play him this week. I mean, I think there's better options out there available. With what Dak's doing, you don't really know. And I think the Lamb, Cooper, Gallup have shown that they're the main threats in this offense. And then I think Schultz was a bit of factor of a touchdown last week, which was his first in a while. But, I mean, you look at the last time he played Washington, 3 targets, 1 catch. Washington's not terrible against tight ends. I mean, I feel like there's better options out there this week. But here's the thing. If you have Cooper and Gallup and you have them on your same team, who do you start over the other?
What was that again?
If you have Gallup and Cooper, which one are you picking to start?
I'm still playing Cooper. He just hasn't been really productive, but every once in a while he has like that great game.
Mm-hmm.
Like in week 8 against the Vikings. He's still a good wide receiver. I still go Cooper.
That's what I mean. It's always tough. Gallup, I think, it solidifies him as a must-start flex each week.
Yeah,
on your team.
I think you still play him, but if you have to pick one, you go Cooper. But I do like Gallup as well. He's been actually getting more targets, just not doing a whole lot with it. That's the only issue.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side of the ball here. We got McLaurin, Gibson, Humphreys has kind of stepped up in, but never mind. I would not play him. And then like Ricky Seals-Jones. Are you playing Gibson and McLaurin this week?
Yep, I played just those two and only those two on this football team. I think there's not really much added to it. All the wide receivers, they're very inconsistent. Seals-Jones been hurt, so he hasn't been playing a whole lot. Had 7 targets, but a lot better tight ends out there to play. So I think you just go Gibson, McLaurin, and that's it.
That's what I agree. I mean, McLaurin, I know he had the last time they played the Cowboys, he had 3 targets, 0 catches. He did get a concussion late in the game, but he is by far on the field the most for them. He's the best receiver that they have. And so, yeah, so there's that. And then we got some just now breaking news here. Dalvin Cook is going on the injured reserve COVID list. So that's cool. But yeah.
Awesome.
And then the last one we have here, we have the Dolphins at New Orleans. Taysom Hill being out with Trevor Siemian being out as well. You got Ian Book starting. If I am on New Orleans side, I'm playing Kamara, and that is it. And
Yep,
maybe you
that.
and yeah, that's it. I'm not touching anybody else for the Saints. Just Kamara and Kamara only. No brainer here. Looking at the Dolphins side of the ball, you got Tua, Gaskin. I know Duke Johnson took over, had two touchdowns last week, 107 yards rushing. I don't think they'll be able to replicate that this week running the football wise. I think if it's gonna be tough. You never know with that running back room. It's so up and down. I don't think I play either one of them, Gaskin or Johnson.
Yeah, only one on the Dolphins. I think you can kind of look at Tua, even though that Saints defense is pretty good. So you might want to kind of go away from him. I think you're just looking at Waddle, maybe Kazicki. I don't even know about that one. I'd say just Waddle. Maybe even throw Parker in there because he did have himself a good game without Waddle with the touchdown. But this Dolphin, I'm not touching running backs. Duke Johnson is not doing that again. So I believe it's just you got to stick to the two wide receivers or just Waddle if you really don't like Parker.
That's what I don't. This one's tough for me. The Parker and Waddle. I think Waddle is a must start every week, no doubt. He's proven that. But if you look at like Parker, even with Waddle on the field, if you look at early, he's on the field a lot. He had 7 targets, 9 targets, 7, 9, 11. Coming back now, do you like? Mm-hmm. Is it a flex?
I think
play?
You have to start him. I think he's a flex play because when he's on the field, that's the issue. When he gets hurt a lot, but when he's on the field, he can be a good runner. We saw last year before they got Waddle. He was their number one. He was on the field. He got a lot of the targets. Yeah. He was getting a lot of the touchdowns. He was an average wide receiver on not a very good team, but I think Parker can be a good secondary to Waddle.
Okay, so we're looking. Let's say you got Devontae Parker, and then maybe you got a banged up DJ Moore. Which one are you playing this week?
I think I haven't seen much from Parker enough because you've seen the flashes of DJ Moore. I know with Cam Newton, he's not going to the ball to him a lot, but I think the ceiling of DJ Moore makes me want to play DJ Moore over Devontae Parker.
Well, that's okay. Then like Devontae Moore over a Chiefs wide receiver, like a Pringle or a Hardman. You play Parker over them?
Parker over any of them, yeah.
Wondering what the workload that they're going to get. So, yeah. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week, especially with COVID coming and everything. You never know what's going to happen. But it'll be interesting. That is all the matchups. I'll be curious to see if something changes. But, I mean, people are coming up with COVID every day, and so expect it to continue to happen.
Yep.
But yeah, then let's go ahead and let's go ahead and pick your must starts this week. Who's a must start for you at quarterback this week?
At quarterback, I think it has to be either if Lamar Jackson or Huntley. I think whoever's playing that, I think that's going to be a must start. I think the Ravens are playing, going to be winning this game. They're going to be playing good. And I think they're going to need to beat this Bengals team. So I think either one, whoever's playing, is a must start.
I agree. That's what I like them both, and I think they're both going to be must starts. For me, it's actually going to be Justin Fields this week, just because they're playing an average Seattle defense. I think he's going to have a big game running the football, and then throwing the football, he'll be very consistent as well. So I like Justin Fields this week. And I'm saying, like, if we're obviously not picking the best players, but if there's a guy you need to go get because your quarterback's on COVID, like if you have Taysom Hill, I think Justin Fields is a guy you go grab this week. And then we look at running back wise. I think with the news coming out, Alexander Madison has now become a must start.
Yeah.
Clearly with him. And then I'll say the other one I think is going to be it's the running back duo from the Broncos is must start as well.
Yeah,
who's your must start running backs?
I like both those. I'm actually going with Miles Sanders this week, playing against the Giants team. I think the Eagles, for them to just keep winning, they have to run the ball. When they run the ball, that's when their offense looks good. Yep. They got down early, they ran the ball, and they were able to beat the football team. So I think that's what their main focus is. So I think Miles Sanders is going to have himself another big week.
Okay, who was a wide receiver that you were starting this week then?
Mine's actually going to be Mooney with the Bears. I think him and Justin Fields have a really good connection. Fields went to him a few times in the end zone. If they can connect on one of those, he has a big week last week. And I think that's not going to slow down. I think that he's going to keep giving him the ball. So I think Mooney's going to have himself a big game against a bad Seattle's defense. And with your must-start Justin Fields, I think it's going to be them too. And you have to remember the Bears are 6.5 point underdogs, and we're really liking the Bears here. So I think the Bears might be able to have an upset if they can just control their mistakes.
Mistakes,
that's
I agree.
The big thing.
You just never know what's going to happen. He is a rookie. It's Seattle, the 12th man, all that other stuff. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. But I like Darnell Mooney. I feel like has kind of showed that he's the number one there, especially with Robinson being dinged up and everything. Mm-hmm. So my must start this week is going to be AJ Green with the Cardinals. I think he's going to have a huge factor, especially if James Conner does not play. With Hopkins being out, I know Kirk is he's a speedier guy and everything, but I think he's going to cause some fits for the Colts defense. I think the Colts still win this game, but I like AJ Green to kind of come in and have a touchdown and then have a big performance. So he is my must start wide receiver. Tight end wise, there's not a whole lot for me. I think it's like Hunter Henry for sure, Dallas Goedert. You can just name the list.
Those are my two, is Hunter Henry and Goddard. I think they're both. I think you can also add
Pitts.
What was I going to say? Pitts. You could say Pitts, and there's another one I was going to add, but I forgot who it was. Well, never mind. I thought I had someone, but I forgot who it was.
Fant?
Yeah, there it is. Fant. I thought Fant might be a good Drew Lock in there. I think Drew Lock kind of have a good connection.
So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. Those are must starts. I feel like it should be a weird week.
And Zach Ertz, that was the other one.
That's it. Zach Ertz. I agree. I think he's gonna need to play big. I think those two in the red zone, if Connor's out, especially, are going to be huge this week. But those are our week 2, our part 2 preview of that. Super interesting week. COVID everywhere again. NFL's cursed. We're cursed. My team's cursed now. Dalvin Cook's out. But we will catch you guys on the next episode. If you want to check out our gambling picks for this weekend, go ahead. It's on the part 1 of this. But we appreciate all the support, and we'll check you guys on the next episode. Deuces.
See you.